Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to another topic in the lab of anatomy. As we were continuing with the general anatomy, here is another structure I am going to illustrate and demonstrate today again. My name is Dr. Zahra and I am a gold medalist in Doctor of Physiotherapy from University of South Asia. And currently I am doing my master's in orthopedic and animal therapy from Rifa International University. So I will be disassembling the structure of the heart one by one and demonstrating some important structures that we can see on this structure. So this is the model of the human heart. As we know, it has 4 chambers in it, and the arteries are transferring blood from heart to the other parts of the body, and the veins is carrying blood from the parts of the body toward the heart. Here I will be disassembling the structure one by one in order for you to understand it better. So, as you can see here is the very basic thing. The heart has 2 atria and 2 ventricles. So, the atrias are thinner walled while the atrium are thicker in wall, because it had to make more contraction and produce more power in order to send the blood to the peripheral parts of the body. The atrium here is the right atrium that would be receiving deoxygenated blood from the superior vena cava here, and the inferior vena cava that is demonstrated on this side. So the inferior vena cava would be entering the right atrium from here. Then we have left atrium, which would be receiving oxygenated blood from this vein, which is coming from lungs, that is pulmonary vein. Then we have right ventricle and the left ventricle. The right ventricle would be pumping blood toward the lungs, that is the deoxygenated blood, for purifying it in the lungs and releasing all the carbon dioxide and entering the oxygen into the blood. So this the right ventricle will contract and push all of its blood to the pulmonary artery, that is containing the blood from and moving the blood from the heart to the lungs to make it purified. Then we will see in this model some valvular structures which are not so much illustrated, but as we know that the right side contains a tricuspid valve and the left side contains a bicuspid valve that actually act as a gateway like this. That would be if the blood is coming from the atria to the ventricle, they will open and they will shut down once the blood has been given away. Then we have the structure called septa here. The septa is a muscular wall. As the muscles of the heart are already surrounding it, we have the septum in it, which is separating the ventricles from one another, and also the septum that is separating the 2 atria from one another and protecting the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood from mixing. So now assembling the structure, we can also see some veins and the arteries coming toward the heart and going away from the heart. Here. Okay. So remembering this is the right side of the heart, this is the left side of the heart. The right side is receiving deoxygenated blood from the superior vena cava as well as the inferior vena cava. This right side is giving the deoxygenated blood through pulmonary artery to the lung. So here is the left pulmonary artery as well as the right pulmonary artery that is coming from here. Then we can see this red aorta, the basic and the quite large structure on the structure of the heart. If we see it from this angle, the left atrium and the left ventricle, the atrium is receiving the oxygenated blood from lungs through these left and right pulmonary veins, and that is pumping the blood to the ventricle. The ventricle would be then giving its blood pump to the aorta. So here, aorta is making its part like ascending aorta, that is coming from here, this ascending aorta. Then we have the arch of the aorta. Then we have descending aorta. So while coming from the left ventricle with oxygenated blood, this aorta will give 3 branches on the top or the arch of the aorta. The very first branch is named as brachiocephalic branch. Then comes the left common carotid artery. Then comes the left subclavian artery. This brachiocephalic branch of the aorta would be further dividing into 2 branches and giving the right common carotid artery and right subclavian artery as well. So this was all for the structure of the aorta. Then from the arch of the aorta, there would be the descending aorta that is going into the abdomen and making the trunk of aorta in abdominal trunk of the aorta. So let us revise a few structures of it. Here we can see the right atrium and the left atrium, this pinkish portions. Then we have ventricles of the heart, the right and the left one. Then we have some superior vena cava and inferior vena cava that is entering into the right atrium. Then we have this pulmonary artery that is originating from the ventricle, right ventricle. After receiving the blood from the lungs through pulmonary artery, the left atrium will pump the blood to the left ventricle and left ventricle would pump the blood to this aorta. There we have ascending aorta, arch of aorta and descending aorta. Thank you so much for today.